Hello, this is Dale Matthews, and welcome back to our show. I say back because last night here with Mike, suddenly after 20 minutes, due to the vagaries of the internet, the show stopped. Mike?
Yes, those vagrants on the internet. Yeah, I was going to say this. We were summarily booted from the internet last night. I don't know.
I think this happens to everyone. Go ahead.
Perhaps it was something that Dale said.
No, this happens every once in a while. I'll be going along editing something, and then all of a sudden the program will go pink. It's done. What?
No more for you.
That's right. No more soup for you.
That's right.
I don't get it, but okay, we're back. Got the same picture on my shoulder, slightly different one here. Here's Simon Hare admiring what these guys are doing.
Oh, I thought that was Jesus Christ over here.
No, that's Simon. Yes. He's going, ooh, I like that idea. So,
yes.
Anyway, so the saga continues, and we're just going to go into almost
where we left off. Maybe it was this video. We're about to find out if this video is the one that booted us off the internet. So when we start playing it, if we go off, that's why.
This is a compilation every Saturday and now one Sunday of that imperial attitude among the county commissioners. And in this one, Cheryl Walker explains to you why what you're watching right now is a tragedy. Go ahead.
Oh, it's better. It's better with audio. So here, let me try that.
Yes.
With audio.
Thank
you.
Here
we go. Here it is with audio.
Where's the story in the Daily Courier about the $100,000 plus cost overrun for the Dimick Tower? The Dimick Tower, which is this beautiful example of tearing something down, and it makes the county look really good that they're doing that. It's gone more than $100,000 over budget. There was a nice article written by Jim Moore and a colleague about people who feel nostalgia for the old hospital. Why, my leg was cut off in that hospital and I have fond memories of that. Where's the dang article about running over $100,000 over budget? In any community in America, a reporter like Jim Moore would be required to recognize that as a story. Not in the Daily Courier. When the nice people out in Cave Junction suggested that if you simply put in wheelchair ramps, it's going to create 214 full-time family wage jobs, the Daily Courier wrote something about a good time was had by all. There was no idea in the article, written by Jim Moore again, that these people had brought together this bogus argument to you that it's going to create all these jobs. Do you know how much business would be required to generate one more job in a gas station? How many people would need to move into that area and do business just to hire one more gas station guy? 214 of them? It's not the idea of how much money is being spent. It's not the idea of whether Roger Brandt's a great guy or not. Of course he is. I gave him $100. It's the idea that we have this economic development plan, which we still haven't seen from Cheryl Walker after waiting for 6 months. And this is now part of it. It's ridiculous. And unfortunately, when you're saying, oh, trust us, we're going to spend your money right, we have this as the perfect example of how you're absolutely incapable of doing so. Oh, thank you. Yes.
Judy Aaron's Grants Pass. I just don't know how to follow that act. It was so great. And, you know, I'm just going to give badcounty.com a plug because if you've never seen it, just for entertainment's sake, to go on badcounty.com and see Michael Jones and Dale Matthews. It's fackin' but smackin', and it's just funny, hilarious. And I told some people, and they're all going on it now because they think, wow, it's great entertainment. Plus, it's got facts there too, obviously.
I think that for someone to continue to make comments and spurious remarks and to continue to put a face out there on Josephine County, and I tell you, Miss Ahrens said something about look at it for its entertainment sake. I think it's a tragedy if you look at it, because it's hurting our county. A terrible tragedy.
Smack 'em, smack 'em.
I don't know what she meant by that.
Yeah, I don't either, but it was funny, and that was even funnier. That just cracks me. That's a tragedy, you know. Well, I don't know.
Perhaps if you look at it. You are part of the tragedy, everybody.
The problem is that the tragedy is you keep giving us material.
Yes,
that's the tragedy. You know, I mean, you could put us out of business in 5 minutes if you just stop doing screwy things.
Well, in the next video, Cheryl Walker, Keith Heck, and Mark Gatlin warn you that badcounty.com is scurrilous. And scurrilous means vulgar. Really? Foul-mouthed?
Yeah, but didn't she say scurrious? She said scurrious.
She did.
Yes.
Yeah, she did.
So what is, let me see, what does scurrious mean?
It means the little moles that sneak around, I think.
Oh, yeah, they're scurrying. Yes, I get it.
Right, scurrying.
They're very scurrious.
Scurrilous means vulgar. Vulgar?
Yes.
Foul-mouthed.
Oh, I saw the definition.
Yes. And obscene. What? So
yes.
Here's the three of them describing us that way. And sorry, I've done the best job I can on the audio. We're a little bit better.
You know, I mean, dubbing over what they really said is hard.
Yes, putting words in their mouth. Right. Here we go.
For someone to continue to feed that out there on the internet, so much of the time in regards to our community, people don't want to be part of that. They don't like it. They don't want to bring their employees here.
Oh, really?
And it has just been beyond me why anyone wants to tear down their own community, which is tearing down our opportunities for a bright community, a good future, and economic development and additional jobs. Believe me, they mention it to me. They say, well, what's all this stuff that we see out there about this bad county crap? Believe me, it's there. They see it. Pardon my expression, but that's what they say. And I don't like it. I don't like being a commissioner up here working hard to develop a community, and then people ask me about that.
That's what she's doing.
I saw this online, or somebody told me this about how bad this is, or what happened. Can't anybody get their act together in Josephine County?
Yeah, it's a good question.
I think that for someone to continue to make comments and scurrilous remarks and to continue to put a face out there on Josephine County. And I tell you, Miss Ahrens said something about look at it for its entertainment sake. I think it's a tragedy if you look at it, because it's hurting our county. A terrible tragedy.
Yesterday, I sent out to all of the department heads the following email, and with a CC to Julian Silva, who is the housemate coordinator.
Union guy.
He represents the Aspen workers. I sent this and followed. It says, I was just made aware of the pending damage that is endeavoring to be made by Mr. Dale Matthews over his highly edited video of my comments at the CCC discussion meeting on last Thursday. I did attempt to ignore his scurrilous remarks made this morning's WBS, but was thankfully made aware that Mr. Matthews' efforts are having his intended effect, causing confusion.
Oh, yeah.
Please, would you make your staff aware that Mr. Matthews' edited video took my comments and made what I had intended as a compliment into something insulting.
A compliment?
It's amazing to me that the charges that were levied against the Public Works Department were approved just here recently by the gentleman were with the facts proven scurrilous and untrue and almost in the same error. So it's
insane error.
Except he didn't see the videotape. He hasn't read the report. He had no idea what actually happened there. And I don't know whether he knows I've said this about 8 times over the years in public meetings. So where does this judgment come from that it's all a lie or it's insane?
Is this the kind of county commissioner you would be, sir, if you had no evidence, but you were sure, so sure, that you would call a citizen a liar or insane? Really?
Yes, that is the kind of commissioner he would be. Thank God we dodged that bullet. I mean, that
Absolutely.
Listen, whatever you think of Simon Hare, Mark Gatlin is just like, he's looking through the dictionary of, okay, it says here how to be a politician. Yes. Make emotion provoking arguments about, whatever. I mean, his campaign, it was so interesting to watch his campaign. And he's trying to pander. I mean, it's out of How to Be a Politician 101. It was really poorly done. There was not really an attack on an issue of that is, that relates to what's happening here in Josephine County. It was kind of sad, but and so thank God.
Well, I had talked because they brought up the idea of a vehicle inventory again. That's why it came to the fore again. And so I'd said, well, the last time there was a vehicle inventory, we went down and we videotaped what was happening there. And Rob Brandis from the Public Works Department admitted that they had changed the plates on the vehicles, that we weren't going to see the ones that they said were the perfect examples. We're going to see something else. You changed the plates. Why the heck would you change the plates? I mean, you could just say, we decided to show you others. Well, right. And so afterwards, he said, we'll sue you if you ever say it again. You said it already on tape. So after I said that at a meeting, then Mark Gatlin goes to the city council, says, well, that's insane. Well, I agreed that it is, but I wasn't the one that was insane. Look, talk to the guy that did it. He came to the conclusion he hadn't seen the tape. I know he hadn't seen the tape. How do you come to the conclusion that what I've said is insane if you haven't even seen him saying that he did it? The Imperial Court here.
Yes.
Okay. And this next one, this is another one of my favorites. If you sit and you just grin about something, you can be in a lot of trouble. Here we go.
I just wanted to make one clarification comment. This levy has nothing to do with the Board of County Commissioners. I mean, well, you can chortle all you want, but I'd appreciate it if you would not do that if you want to remain here.
This is Dale Matthews. What did he just say? Keith Heck was making fun of a citizen who said there was proof that the commissioners were supporting the 2015 levy. When Keith Heck insisted that the levy has nothing to do with the board, several people chuckled to themselves. You couldn't even hear them. But it's now against the rules to silently laugh at a meeting. Simon Hare threatened me for simply grinning. Literally, even freedom of facial expression is no longer allowed by our local government at meetings. So Keith Heck says, not if you want to remain here. You just heard him. So how did it come to this? I can show you, but you're not going to like it. I'm going to play a video recording of the county administration meeting of August 7th, a few months ago. The commissioners were attending most of the levy 2015 meetings, sometimes constituting a quorum. Keith Heck came back after an SOS meeting with news about how he had assigned the county director of juvenile justice to gather information to turn over to the levy proponents to promote the possibility of a levy.
Jim Goodwin has been requested to develop a generalized budget with the answer to the question, what does it cost to operate the juvenile justice system, to see whether there might be an interest, a hypothetical figure, using a figure of $2 million. That's what it costs. And how much is needed to get there? Is there a possibility of it having a levy for that particular, that everybody understands, is designated for that, so that the juvenile justice at least can get up functioning or whatever. So he's already responded to some preliminary information on that.
So it's over. This levy was not initiated by a citizen-driven program of complete independence. It was initiated by the commissioners.
But it has nothing to do with the county commissioners as far as supporting it, seeing it passed, or whatever. The only thing we would have to do with it is if it did pass, we would have to receive that and to see it applied as far as the levy goes and the taxation aspect goes. But please don't misunderstand that the Board of Commissioners has nothing at all to do with this levy one way or the other.
Well, you know what? It's clear from what you saw there. And if you were paying attention when this whole levy thing was happening, you would know that SOS and Cuffs were both, talking to people inside government and getting things happening, getting information, exchanging information that would help with the levy. And this one of the big things, and it's still a big thing, even the city is pushing it, is this extra $2 million for the Juvenile Justice Center. They really want the Juvenile Justice Center back up and operating. So and this was what, August of 2014. That's correct. 9 months or something before the levy. So it's pretty obvious that now his claim is, well, we weren't the drivers behind it. Okay, so you
were the initiators.
Yes,
it ever been mentioned.
Yes, but they didn't go down and fill out the thing. That was SOS or Cuffs to make it look as though it's a citizen-driven thing. They're the ones who did that. But clearly, there was cooperation, or should we say coordination? Who knows? Within the halls of government there that initiated that whole thing. And most of the members of Cuffs and SOS are all county employees or city employees too. So
that's right. Just don't tell us you had nothing to do with it. We've had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
You're just not believing me, and we'll clear the room. He kept having to say that again and again and again. We'll clear the room. You just said, well, why should I talk to you if you don't believe me? Because you're lying to us, and we could see that you are, and everybody in the room has already seen that videotape.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that they, you know what, if you want to see whether or not a grassroots campaign can get off the ground, why don't you back off and not have anything to do with it? Don't coordinate, don't cooperate, don't bring in county employees and say, hey, well, why don't you give me a sheet of paper that says what this would cost if we had a levy? Don't do that. Don't do anything. And then we'll see how far your little, levy plan gets off the ground. Not very far.
What was the result of all this? That is, the folks at Cuffs actually told the commissioners, we don't want you involved at all. You're killing us. And if people know that you're involved, we don't stand a chance. So stop. They didn't want their endorsement. They didn't want them even talking about it. That's really, really negative news for the commissioners. We don't want your participation. It's killing us.
Yeah. And, if the county commissioners had great public support behind them, you would think, what greater endorsement could our plan have than an endorsement by the commissioners?
Right.
So anyway.
All right. And this next, I don't want you to think it's all just nothing but the Dale and Dale show. Okay. So,
but it's the Dale and Dale show.
No, it's not. Okay. So occasionally
side comments from me in between.
Yes. We'll stand up for somebody else occasionally and we'll say, listen, this isn't right. And even if the other person's a little bit reticent to say anything, and the reason he was reticent to say anything is because he feared retaliation. Well, duh, absolutely. He finally just had enough of it. It wasn't because I was saying, oh, you know, I was saying, what do you want? What do you want? Well, I just want quiet and I want justice. I don't think you're going to get both. This is not going to happen. So here he is. You can see how nervous he is. Just feel a little bit of sympathy for him. Go ahead.
Daniel Lindstad, Grants Pass, Oregon. I'm going to try to keep this simple, but it is hard to do in the 3 minutes that is allowed. First, Mr. Hare, you voted correct a few months ago when you voted no to spend $80,000 for 2 new F-450 trucks for the Josephine County airports. I thank you. Next issue. I did not want to come today for the fear of retaliation for speaking against people with power. I came to you, Ms. Walker, and asked for your help to negotiate with the airport director regarding a land lease at the airport.
That was your first mistake. I asked you,
what did you do to negotiate, Ms. Walker? I came to this board and asked very respectfully to change the deadline date as the first step to you couldn't even give me that respect.
He's not.
You strong-armed me and then refused to negotiate as you are required to. I think you should be embarrassed when I came to you and the airport manager multiple times and you refused to do anything. Now you're going to say, oh, I did many things. Then why am I here?
Good question.
In my opinion now, I can see why there are so many recall Walker signs. And you are the liaison to the Grants Pass Airport?
That'll win you some points.
Mr. Lindstad, you brought an issue in here that has been worked with legal counsel because you ignored legal provisions in a contract. So coming here to making allegations that we have not done something is incorrect. I have met with you and it was turned over legal counsel because you did not sign a lease for about 4 months. And that was a legal issue. Now that you brought it forward, I would never have mentioned a word in public at all.
Oh, I'll bet you wouldn't. Okay, so we'll summarize
Daniel
this.
Lindstad just gave me permission. I asked him to go before me. What he left out, because he's a wonderful gentleman, is that when he went in to try to negotiate with Larry Graves, the airport manager, Larry started cursing at him. Well, F this and F that and that kind of stuff. Is that really appropriate for a county employee? Of course you two don't know about this because Cheryl Walker's not going to tell you that that happened. And so when Daniel Lindstad went to Cheryl Walker and said, what's up with this? I mean, I can't even go to a county employee without him going F you and F this and F that. Do you think that there was any resolution of that? Has Larry Graves stopped doing it? This is what Daniel Lindstad is trying to talk about, not something about a contract that was foisted on him with no chance to have a negotiation. It's the law. You're supposed to negotiate. Larry made it very clear there will be no negotiation. Well, then which law are you violating today? No negotiations? And F you? Nice. This poor guy with the airport lease that came to you for justice, he came to the wrong place. The reason that he complained about his lease is because you're charging him too much. It's not an apartment, but imagine that you're being charged for 4 bedrooms when you only had 2. Any reasonable person might come to you and say, you're the landlord, I'm being charged too much. And when he went to Larry Graves, the airport manager, Larry Graves told him to F himself. F this, F that.
We don't need that.
Yeah,
I personally
do need that.
Mr. Matthews,
the
it's
language
hearsay
usage
too.
is,
It's hearsay.
You can say he cursed at him. That's fine.
Okay,
You don't
it's
need to
not
get so
hearsay
particular.
because I've heard the recording.
Which was recorded illegally.
Oh, I thought it was
So please
recorded
With
proceed.
the permission of the airport manager who
No, it was not.
who gave it permission on the tape. And if he's told you a falsehood, you need to talk to him. Because I heard that. So,
Mr. Matthews,
you're
please
interrupting me.
please do not say that again.
What again, ma'am?
The words you have repeated last week and this week.
It's one letter, but okay. Now, is it bad that I'm repeating the one letter or that your employee used the full word several times?
That's a good point.
What he was trying to bring to the airport's manager was, you're charging me the wrong amount. So he came here and he was all nervous. He really didn't want to come up here, but he wanted to be sure that you heard his concerns, that he was being cursed at by your employee. He'd gotten a response from Cheryl Walker, oh, we're going to deal with that. Seen the letter. It was dismissive. And when he came here, the environment that you're creating here that makes it easy for people to want to come, you told him you didn't sign that. Oh, you didn't sign that. You better check with legal because you're supposed to sign that. Who in their right mind would sign the thing when it's for the right amount, wrong amount? Why would they do that? He finally did. He signed it. And then the next week he's thinking, I really shouldn't have done that, but I was afraid of retaliation. And Keith Tech told him, well, Larry Graves has never been mean to me. He's never retaliated, never said anything. Well, of course not. You're the bosses. So when he brings it to your attention, and when I bring it to your attention, that you have an employee that would be fired anywhere else in the country, you just dismiss the guy. He didn't get any justice. He came to the wrong place.
Yeah, I think the charter says something about that.
Well, the result of this, a couple of weeks later, was that Dan Lindstedt did go back to Larry Graves. And the first thing Larry did was say, you've complained. And so F you and F this and F. He was doing it again. So this talk that Cheryl Walker had with Larry Graves at the airport didn't do much good, did it? What do you think about a county employee that treats people that way?
I doubt very seriously. You know what's weird? It should bother you. Even if somebody comes in and makes a false accusation about somebody at the airport, you would expect to get this sort of response. Well, I'm going to talk to Larry Graves about that because I'm very disturbed by your allegation.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that didn't happen.
No, it's imperial attitude.
Yeah. It's, you know what? It's like, he's my boy. That's okay. Don't worry.
Yeah. And at a subsequent meeting, when this kind of thing came up again, Cheryl Walker actually said to the audience and to me, I would back Larry Graves over, I'm going to try to get it right. Do you remember what she said?
Yeah, I would vouch for Larry Graves before I would vouch for your existence, Mr. Matthews. Yes.
There you go.
I have no idea what that means, but
well, means rather I die than Larry Graves be criticized for saying to somebody, F your mother or whatever. I mean, give me a break.
I guess
wow.
so.
Wow, really? That's a pretty good example. That's not involving me. Well, sort of, because the poor guy was having some trouble. Okay. So you may recall back when the previous they're really heavy on this levy stuff. Lisa Shipley, who's head of the Veterans Department. There's already a Veterans Department in the area that's run by the state, but Lisa Shipley gets most of the credit here locally. Maybe she does do some things really well, except on this bit, it wasn't so good. I think she should have been fired immediately because she was taking advantage of a relationship with these poor old dears who are getting their money for their husbands who were veterans or for themselves. And she threatened them that if they did not vote for that levy, that maybe they wouldn't get any benefits anymore from the county. If you're dependent on those veterans benefits, you might be concerned. Go ahead.
The county doesn't pay the veterans benefits.
Yeah, see, that's the crazy part. Some veterans could take her and go, what do you think you're saying to me? That's all wrong. But most of them are going to be like, well, maybe you're right about that. So what was Lisa's reward? She didn't get the reward right away, but you wait and you'll hear imperial government. Go ahead, Mike.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. Is it really necessary to be so tough on the veteran service officer? Yes. And this is why. This is the videotape, and both of you were there.
of Lisa Shipley explaining her role in the 2013 levy. She reported to you that on the county payroll, she was telling veterans that if they didn't vote for the levy, perhaps the Veterans Service Office would close. It's a lie. She was going around to retirement homes and to the hospitals telling the poor old folks there that perhaps their benefits would be more difficult to get if the Veterans Service Office in the courthouse was not open, and that he needed to vote for the levy. She reported to you, and you listened to her very carefully as she explained that when all of those people came in asking questions and concerned about their benefits, that she was routinely handing out your business cards. Now, why would a Veterans Service Officer be handing out business cards for the county commissioners? Because as she pointed out to them, you know, you get what you pay for, and had said bluntly to others, if you don't vote for the levy, you may not have a Veterans Service Office. This is betrayal of the people that laid down their lives for this country. My father was a hero. He was awarded 2 Purple Hearts. He's in Arlington. He would call this FUBAR, and it is. Now, lots of people say, but she's the money person. I like the money person. Of course you do. Who doesn't like the money person? But it's happened with my father when he was in the war, when it turned out that the payroll guy was dipping into their funds. I'm not saying she's doing it. I'm saying she betrayed her trust. He almost died.
Because they almost killed him.
Enemy action. So, does it create a question? Well, obviously not to you. Because what is her reward for doing this great service to the 2013 levy? By the way, it didn't pass. Did the Veterans Service Office close? Of course not. There's no linkage. This is her reward. A 5-step increase. Not step, 5-tier increase. So the message is that if you toe the line, if you help the commissioners deceive the people about not being involved, then you're going to get a pay raise. It's at our website.
Shameless website promotion.
They hate that kind of thing, Mike. They hate being identified. They thought they could just give her a 5-tier increase afterward. Just wait a while, Lisa. Don't worry. This is awful.
Well, you know, they're so overpaid, you know, pretty much anybody that works for the city or the county is overpaid. If you're asking me, I know there's probably a bunch of people sniveling about me saying that. Oh, well, sorry. I just think you make too much money.
Well, it's your show, you know, so.
Yeah.
I mean, what? How does she remain employed by the county? That's terrible. They're still going to, she actually had a video made extolling her own virtues, which she played at the last budget committee meeting. Budget committee, Lisa Shipley, the Lisa Shipley show. I mean, that's really what it was. They're playing patriotic music and people, I love that Lisa Shipley. This was her budget presentation. I find it distressing.
Yeah.
But, well, okay. Now, here's another gem of the ocean, and that's J.J. Schofield. This one's a little bit long, but I'm asking the same question I ask every time to get the executive officials compensation committee together. Really, do we need to compare what our elected officials are being paid with those of more prosperous counties? Shouldn't we be comparing what our local people are making with our elected officials and just make sure there's some kind of parity? No, because what happens when they want to leave to go to Lane County and then, well, they wouldn't make as much money. So here's JJ. JJ isn't even on the committee. Let's see what he has to say.
You've been handed out a number of documents in this meeting. You are an official committee of the county. When will those documents be available and how to the public?
Well, they'll probably put on the website. They can always be, some of these are wage studies, and wage studies are permanent records of the county. So
when will these documents be available to the public? When and how?
You can always do any public records request to get any of these.
Yeah.
Public records.
The answer is
I
never.
don't know if they will be put on the website as part of this committees or not, but they are always available via any public records request.
The tradition is with county committees that they are required to make this information available to the public without us having to search for it. I would like to specifically request that all documents handed out to this committee be available as a package and immediately available to the public. Should have been before you met.
Well, we never have presentation materials before meetings, but I appreciate your feedback and we'll take it into consideration.
Okay.
Right.
Second thing I'd like to bring up is, are you as committee members aware that the committee members from before, a number of them quit en masse? Do you know why they quit?
Yeah.
Do the other two members know why they quit?
Not worried about why they quit.
Okay, well, you might be concerned because badcounty.com talked with two of them, and they indicated that the reason why they quit
Hey, Dale,
was...
this actually isn't an opportunity for you to...
Oh, it's not an opportunity to say anything?
Website. If you
Okay.
would like to talk about the committee, we're happy to take your comments.
Other people did make comments, so I'm not allowed to do the same?
If you would like to make comments about the committee,
I'm
I'm
making
happy to
comments
listen to you,
about this
but you
committee.
are making an advertisement for your own
No,
private blog.
no, that's not the
And
reason.
I'm not going to
I'm
let
just
you.
telling, I don't think it's up to you. I think it's up to the chair. And second, I'm telling you how I can verify what they did because they talked to us. It's not an advertisement for a non-commercial website. It is telling you where the information came from. If you don't like it, we can talk about it outdoors. What they told us was the reason they quit was that they were not happy with the comparator counties and how they were chosen.
Well, I'm actually going to stop you right there as well, Dale, because I specifically spoke with all of the committee members. And what you just said, although it may be true for a couple of them, it is absolutely not true for all of them.
Okay,
So
I just mentioned two.
Honest, I think
No,
we're done listening to you
I'm
for today.
honest. And I said two of them said that, and that's not being dishonest. So don't mischaracterize what I'm
Let me
saying.
interject right here, because I've been through 5 years of these meetings.
Right.
And hopefully they quit because of me.
What?
Came open for the public forum. I jumped on those people. And the reason why, they were coming off the wall with policy recommendations that had nothing to do whatsoever with comparables. And if they quit because of that, then I'm a happy guy. But for any other reason, I care less. What I do care about is just this particular committee, and are we doing the scope of work and the job that we were volunteered for? And we're staying right within those confines.
Okay.
As it is, we got out a little bit, and thank goodness Simon Hare reminded us of that. Because our entire job is to advise and recommend. And this is nothing but homework. This data is all it is. Our job is to analyze it best we can to help the commissioners. We have no authority whatsoever.
So I have tried to share with you about why they quit.
Okay.
JJ Schofield tried to stop me. And if you want me to stop saying this, then I can stop. But what I'd like to point out to you is their main point that they told us was that they felt that the comparator counties should be compared by income and not by population. Similar to comparing, let's say, Newport Beach with Oxnard. That the idea is not to compare by just your population, but by whether you can afford to do these things so that the elected officials in that area are being paid something comparable to what everybody else in that area is being paid. And that's why they told us, despite what JJ may have to say about why they wanted to quit.
Well, JJ's the one that was in the hallway the other day, that when the commissioners had been having that discussion about the fire standards, and JJ said, they never said any of that.
Well, you know what? Listen, he's towing the line too. I expect he's probably got a pay raise in the pipeline. You know what?
Everybody does under the new HR director.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. And you know what? I forget the name of that guy who was the chair there.
Larry West. He's the one that said the
Larry
Courier
West
is the best newspaper in the world.
Yeah, you know what? I think we need a new executive compensation board there. These guys shouldn't be getting any more money. That is for sure. And I think people in this county should be concerned that we're using the wrong comparators, and this is probably the reason why. And they're using these comparators to form a rationale for these people getting a pay increase. Yeah. That's the only reason why you would do something like that. You don't go, well, look at this, look at those guys in Hollywood, California, and we're making about the same amount, so that's fair. They're not doing that. They're saying, look at here's what so-and-so of a similar office is being paid, and our guys are making so much less than that. They really need a pay increase. That's why that's being done. So it really.
Also, I got one other thing to say. I'm sorry I slightly misstated that. I hope you can forgive me, Mike.
Okay.
He wasn't commenting about what they'd said about fire standards. He was commenting about what Keith Hicks said about the little moles that sneak around, and he was at the table when Keith said it.
Right.
He never said any of that. Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a variation of what Keith was saying is that he didn't say it, and you and I had inserted words into his mouth. We had doctored the videotape. J.J. Schofield is the guy that said to me after this, he said, "You lie all the time, Mr. Matthews. Why is this guy in county?" I got to stop asking that question. Why is he working for this county?
You're going to find that, generally in government employ, you have more people that have this, the imperial attitude. And, it's sad. It just happens to be that way. I think if you had different leadership at the top,
yes,
that was something that was consistent, that reflected the character of the people in the county. If the people in the county were paying more attention to this sort of thing, we would probably have that, but we don't. And it's because it's either, we don't have the character to reflect, or we're not paying enough attention to these people. And listen, you have to have people at the top that set the tone.
Yes.
Set the tone. Let employees understand that, hey, listen, you work for these people. You will not treat them with disrespect.
Right.
This, you know what? And I don't care. You can go into any city hall anywhere in America, and there are probably a few exceptions to this, but not many, where you're going to find people that treat you poorly just because, you know what? They're not incentivized in the same way that you would be in a private sector, because the private sector guy, I own a lumber company. My guy at the counter, he treats my customers like crap. He's gone.
Right.
I'm going to tell you one time, I don't care what kind of problems you're having at home. Don't bring them here. If you bring them here, it reflects badly upon me, and I cannot have it. You will be fired. Okay. Now, why does that not happen in government? Because they all share the same attitude. It's not our money. These people, my God, why don't they just leave us alone and let us drink our coffee?
Well, the lady at the far end said to me afterwards, when I was going out to the car, she came up to me and said, you could attract more flies with honey than with vinegar. And I said, if I wanted to attract flies, yeah, but I'm the only person in the audience, except for it's packed full of elected officials. They all had something to say, and they went on and on and on and on and on. And I'm getting up and I'm saying, I'm the only civilian there. At least we can tell you what's happening. We're videotaping, then we're happy about that either.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a little bit too bad, you guys. We need to show people. We needed you to see what J.J. Schofield is like. Well, this guy's got to go.
Our county has been in depression-like recession since about 2006.
Yeah.
Okay. So why these guys would get even one pay increase? Why would they get that?
Because he's the HR director.
Yeah, but the bottom line is that if we're really hanging by our fingernails, if we've really gone off the fiscal cliff, if we've really rammed into the brick wall, why? You know, I mean, if I'm running that same lumber company I'm talking about during those circumstances, people don't get pay increases during that.
No.
Sorry, it just doesn't happen. You know, we have to cut back in order to survive.
Running your theoretical lumber company, why would you give there are reasons. Why would you give top executives retirement benefits? Because you hope to do what?
Well, because I hope to keep these guys because they've served me well, and you know, I want to do right by them.
So with these three commissioners, or any commissioners, why would you give them retirement benefits?
Yeah, I personally don't think somebody who serves for 4 years ought to get a retirement behind that. This is supposed to be about public service, not about, you know, wages and benefits and all that sort of thing. And that's what it ends up being. I understand that. And, you know, apparently if you serve 5 years, which means you serve, if you get elected to a second term, you're automatically guaranteed some retirement benefits. And, you know, I mean, how old is Simon Hare now?
Oh,
is he 40
I think
yet?
no, closer to like 16 or so. I don't know.
Yeah, but no. The point is the guy's he's 40 or less. Okay. Yeah. So, what does he need to be getting a retirement out of that? Now maybe if you wanted to count that in public service, you know, towards an ultimate retirement, to get a retirement that is just based on that alone, that's crazy.
And he ran the first time. One of his major points was, I will not ask for any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Once he was elected the second time over Mark Gatlin, okay. Once he was elected the second time, he asked for that all to be reversed. He did. Yes, he did. And he wants it retroactive to the beginning of his first term.
Hey, woohoo.
What do you think about that? Okay, so in this next clip, we're starting to wind up. Don't worry. In this next clip, I intend to be just a little bit more lighthearted. I don't want to be heavy all the time at the podium. You know, I joke around with Mike here. It's harder to have the time to do that from the podium. And here's what happened when I tried to be just not flippant, but just a little bit, well, easier to get along with. You'll see.
Dale Matthews, Grants Pass. I'll keep this simple. Cheryl Walker. A couple of weeks ago, you decided to make the comment that Sandy Casanelli as a commissioner. I'm over here, Cheryl Walker.
Mr. Matthews, if you want to say something, that's fine. If you want to try to be real clever and
there's no danger of that.
Then fine. Your time is up. You have expired. You are not recognized anymore. Please have a seat.
What?
Next.
What's the reasoning, sir?
Please have a seat.
You have some reasoning, right?
Yes, please have a seat.
What is the reasoning behind that, sir?
Would you please sit down?
I'm asking you a question.
You are out of order. You are not recognized by the chair.
Why am I not recognized?
Because the chair. I'm not going to get a dialogue with you on this.
Oh, you should tell me though. You have the right to ask. You have the right to try to answer.
Would you like to sit down, please?
That's it. I think that says more about you than it does about me.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. in the back.
You should not have to sit down.
Good evening, Ron Smith, Grants Pass. Not really so much.
Could we just refrain, the talking is, we don't do that kind of thing. So if we want to talk, we'll talk up when you come up and recognize you can speak up on the microphone.
Maybe.
Otherwise, please hold the comments down.
First, I want to apologize for speaking out as the meeting started, you know, when that happened. And then I want to tell you that I respectfully object also and resent that Mr. Matthews was not allowed to speak. It doesn't matter what he has to say. It doesn't matter if it's complimentary or otherwise. It is his right to speak. We do have freedom of speech here. That's why we're here, or we wouldn't be here.
I'd also like to say that I object to the chair not recognizing Mr. Matthews to speak. There was a time in this auditorium where people had 3 minutes to make comments. They also had time to comment on agenda items. They also had time, 30 seconds for rebuttals. If somebody came up and said something that wasn't quite right, they didn't have to wait for another week. And also there was a time when we had an Elmo here where citizens could use that in order to project data that they had and wanted to present. And there was a time when we had furniture out in the lobby. This was all paid for by the taxpayer and by charter subscribers. And I object to the fact that we're getting less and less service for our money, even though we had paid for those items. In my opinion, the board's going in the wrong direction as far as Second Amendment rights for people. Thank you.
Or even First
See, you've
Amendment.
taken chairs out of the lobby and you've chained off a little room over here that somebody used to sit in and used to write their notes. And that's just really, public unfriendly. And I think you guys enjoy doing that. And I'm appalled, actually, that you did it.
Well, that's up their alley. That's what they'd like to do.
It's up there something. Okay, two more. This one is, I'm trying to find out what the heck was going on with Manor Development and with the drone project at the airport, and what happened to those employees that were put on full-time because of all the work they'd be doing before it happened with Manor Development. Let's see if I can get any answers. Go ahead, Mike.
The commissioners and Larry Graves have said several times in public meetings that the county is spending no money on this project with Manor Development. However, that's not true. So why do you folks keep saying that?
Tell me some of the instances of where the money has been spent.
Really?
I'm asking you the question, so you're telling me you don't have an answer for
money.
it.
What money?
Oh, yeah, well, okay, if you don't
No,
know.
that's fine. If you don't know,
then-
if you don't
no,
have the answer, that's
I know, I'm just surprised.
Surprised that you have to provide an answer?
No, surprised that you're not answering. You know that Larry Graves came to you shortly after you decided to sign the contract, and he said he needed more money for his people, not a raise. I've been corrected on that. More hours. So why are you saying, since they have more hours, and since Larry Graves says that he's been speaking on a regular basis with Manor Development, why would anyone be saying specifically about the employees that the county is not spending any money on Manor Development?
Would you show me? Would you show me?
I'm asking him.
Would you show me the connecting line between Manor Development and the airport workers?
That's what Larry Graves did.
You show me the line. You're the one bringing the question.
All right. Do you want me to bring you the videotape?
You don't have an answer.
Of course I do. I have it on tape.
Okay. Well, what's the answer?
The answer is he said that we're going to be
No,
working
I
with.
didn't ask what he said. I'm asking you to provide me the answer so that I might be able to go, oh, okay.
I'm going to try to give you the answer.
Oh, so you don't have the answer.
Of course I have the answer.
Oh, you don't have it.
The answer is that Larry Graves said to you in an open public meeting that I taped that he needed more money for his people because of how much work they'd be doing about Manor Development. So my question to you, sir, is, you can laugh. My question to you is, why do you keep saying that no money is being spent on this when they're getting more money for Manor Development, which is not happening?
That is not true.
Okay. It doesn't make any difference if it's true or untrue. Dale has it on tape, and therefore it exists and it's true.
Videotape can record you, sir. Videotape is capable of recording you.
I was talking, if you don't mind butting it out as easy as you butt in, that would be appreciated. But there's no way that I can answer your question because your question comes as a hydra-headed thing and you already have the answer, so it's a waste of time to answer.
You and your hydra.
Keep butting in?
Really? And you know what? I've seen the video that Dale is referring to in this situation, and that is immediately after a deal was struck with Manor Development to have them begin whatever they were going to do, this fantasy. the very next day, Larry Graves comes in and says, hey, I got that done. So now how about those hours for my people? I mean, this is, was the timeline of things there. So it's ridiculous for him to suggest that the two aren't connected.
Do you have your answer right here? You mean, did I bring a videotape player and a DVD? No,
Yes.
But you know what happened? You were there. You approved it.
Yeah, but you know what? I mean, this is the same as when people go, well, so-and-so never said that. And when you're telling somebody something, you're saying based on your understanding of where that person is going with that. They may not have said this exact phrase, but you understand that their actions combined with their words ends up with them arriving at this particular location. And you go ahead and take out the middleman and go ahead and just say it. And they go, well, he never said those exact words. Where is that quote? I want to see that quote.
You heard me correcting myself there, because that was Larry's answer earlier when I had said, well, he was trying to get him a raise. No, I wasn't. What do you mean, no, you weren't? No, I wasn't trying to get him a raise. Well, what do you mean? Well, I was giving him more hours. Oh, well, okay, that's completely different.
Which then results, let me see, then results in them making more money. Yes, that's how that works.
This is your answer? And Cheryl was saying, well, we've already talked about this and it's been answered. No, it hasn't. I still can't get an answer. There is still no answer. Why are these people being paid more? The Manor Development deal is gone. So what are they doing? Sweeping up more? Okay, we had to have a last one for this. This one is, to me, a classic. It involves Rika Brown, which is one reason it's a classic, and it's a compilation of little clips. You need to let it run all the way through, Mike, because it looks like it's ending, and it's not. It never ends. It's the song that never ends. Go ahead, Mike.
If you want people to treat you with respect, you have to demand it. If you allow such abuse, it will be copied. It is copied occasionally. No one does it quite like Mr. Matthews, though. If you don't allow him to speak, if you simply do not recognize him, other people will begin to watch how they speak to you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
It'll have a chilling effect.
My question is, under what rules can they ban you from the meetings? Because something tells me that you are one of the few people actually reporting on what's going on with the Josephine County Commission. They're obviously trying to silence you and shut you up or get you out of this. So
here's their tactic.
All right.
You ought to sit down. You ought to grow up. You ought to be quiet, this kind of stuff. And there's no rules apparently about heckling somebody. Yes, there are. They enforce them all the time. I mean, I just say, oh, and you got to be quiet. All I said was, oh, but they're actually addressing me. This guy shouldn't be allowed to talk and this kind of stuff. They're trying to get me so that I start gnawing on the furniture. And as soon as I do that, or if I yell or I call them a name, which I would never do, but Keith Heck does it to citizens all the time, especially to me, calling you really bad names. Okay.
What did he call you that one time?
Well, let's see. The treasurer called me a slimy bastard. Keith Heck called me a lying maggot.
Uh-huh.
Because I had referred to a tape of him saying these exact words, and I said, these are the exact words that you said, and they're on the tape. No, I never did. You're a lying maggot.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, I'm not. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to get me to react the same way that they do, because as soon as I do that, as soon as I really raise my voice,
then they can throw you out of the meetings or ban you from testifying.
Because I'm rude. And they described this later on as I was super rude or really out of line. That I was. No, I wasn't.
Well, yes, I'm surprised that they keep recognizing him and letting him speak at all.
And why is that?
Because he's so unnecessarily evil in his speech. But that might be their point in recognizing him.
So evil. Gee, I was watching that. I didn't hear evil speech at all.
Well, it's what accumulates over time, and they know what to expect next. That's the problem.
Okay, so in other words, when someone calls you slimy bastard or you're lying maggot.
That's after a lot of attacking of that person.
Oh, so he did it first, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Appreciate your opinion there, Rika. Thanks for that.
Tell them, we don't care what you think anymore, and we aren't going to talk to you, and we aren't going to call on you in the meeting.
That's absolutely possible. I would like to see support to limit their ability to access us.
I thought it was pretty rude how Dale was treated.
Well, that's fine by me. I don't care. I don't care what you think. You think I care? Come on.
Yeah.
That last guy was Carl Wilson.
Yep.
I don't care what you think. You think I care? Imperial attitude. We're surrounded by it. Now, you and I talked about this yesterday. What do you do when you come home after 3-week vacation? I've never been on a vacation, not ever. And you find that the electricity gone off locally after the first few minutes. You come back and your refrigerator's full of rotten vegetables. Do you remove a quarter of the vegetables and hope for the best? No. You remove all of the rotten vegetables. Sorry, you throw all of them away and you start over again. We've got a board and department heads, not every one of them, but more than enough, that need to be thrown out. There's no other solution for most of this. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a sad thing that's where it is. It really shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't matter, who is the commissioner. We should have decent people working, for the county or the city or the state or whatever, that are interested in public service. That should be, what's going on, but it rarely is, and that's sad. I think it's what happens when other people are spending other people's money.
Well, it's not getting better. There are some really good people there, and so what you'd ask them to do for the first few months is, can you please run 2 departments? You may even need to bring in people that don't know everything about the department, although they have a staff, and let's hope they're not all infected. They're not all rotten. I don't believe that to be the case. And you just ask them to just kind of take a placeholder position. Sorry, just because they're honest, because they haven't been corrupted. Some of them may be after a few months. That's possible. We've seen it happen before. They don't all start off this way. I don't believe little babies are corrupted. Give me a break. Okay, but if you have a few people in there and you start off from 0, maybe we have a chance, but it's not going to work if you're going to leave J.J. Schofield in as the HR director. That's not going to work. JJ, do you think you'd be able to, work a little bit with attrition and try to find out where we can cut back? He's going to say no. Thank you for your service. Goodbye. People you've caught lying directly to your face. That never happened. That's my bottom line. Those people can't stay. If they're going to look you straight in the eye and say, I never did that, that's not been recorded, that's completely false. We can't use that kind of person, not at all. I realize it's a big, big problem, but where do you stop? And I think I'm only going to take half of the rotten vegetables out of the refrigerator. You can't do it that way. It's too bad this couldn't have been done a while before, but it's gotten worse and worse and worse. It's not going to get any better. We just happen to end up with 3 of them this time. They're at the top, but they're not the only ones. Sorry, everybody.